They didn't really want to take him down.
Hey, you ever notice the champions who are not wrestlers, they have world-class striking?
Yeah.
Like the Israels and the Andersons.
Yeah.
Yep.
Stipe
a wrestler.
Boxing.
But he was knocking them out though. Like he was a wrestler, but he mostly was using hands. And he mostly used the wrestling to keep the fight standing up. But like you said though, it's still wrestling. You know what I'm saying? Because you still gotta have wrestling to keep it up. So
Stipe is probably, sorry to interrupt. Stipe is probably the closest to like creative player fighter I've ever seen. Like speed, great body, moves around, good eyes, good vision, all that other stuff, good hands. Like they not crazy, go crazy hands, but they still sleep you. Yes. He ain't got the fastest hands, but he got good like accuracy. Like he is probably like the closest to like creative fighter player that I've seen. Like if as far as like an all around, but he wrestled though. He will get busy with you on the wrestling. Like he was Mr. 5 rounds when he first started. Like a lot of people don't remember that. He wasn't knocking anybody out. He was beating you with like distance and like touching you up and boxing with you for real. So
I always said that Stipe versus John Jones, like there would be a matchup I would pay money to see. I don't know who's going to win that matchup. I don't know who has the advantage. I don't know if John Jones can take him down, if Stipe can take John down. I don't know what's going to happen in that fight. If Stipe can catch him, if he can hurt John Jones, bruh.
The selfish part of me just want John to retire right now.
I know.
I just want him to retire. You the GOAT now. Just stop. Nobody will ever contest. You the GOAT now. Just leave. You do not I know you want to win that, but you don't have to.
We see fighters, man, they lose 4, 5, 6. Look at BJ. Yeah. He get knocked out in the streets. That's what he's known for. BJ's known for getting knocked out.
BJ Penn got knocked out by a guy serving food at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah, but BJ was drunk. He ain't known that for me. Because young BJ was 5'6", licking blood off his gloves. So
yeah, that's true.
But what's weird with BJ, his prime was so short, man. Like his prime was like what, 2 years?
It was because I remember that stretch where he beat Sean Shirk, Kenny Florian, Diego Sanchez. I was like, my good bro, he was one of the most dominant. And even though, because remember he lost a split decision to GSP. Remember he got cheated on one of them GSP fights. Remember they kind of gave that to GSP, and it was like, oh, that's dirty. But then when they ran it back, GSP was like, hey, I'm much better now. And he just kind of put it on BJ. They kind of stopped it at the end of round 4. I just saw that on YouTube the other day. Forgot about that fight. But man, that BJ doing that little stretch of little time, it was like, my goodness.
But what hurt BJ Penn is the first Frankie loss.
He didn't really lose that one. That's
won
crazy.
The fight, man, and Frankie did just a couple of leg kicks, and he won a decision.
Yep.
And what was odd was Joe Rogan the whole time he was acting like Frankie was just destroying him. He was, oh my God, Frankie's looking incredible. Like Frankie's throwing leg kicks and he's running around.
And he is not engaging in no type of boxing.
And he gets a takedown when BJ pops back up.
And then when he got one takedown when BJ popped back up and pieced him up, and he ran around and threw leg kicks. And they act like he was Khalil Roundtree chopping his leg off. It was like, dude, come on. I'm sure they hurt, but man, you don't see BJ boxing this dude. And then, of course, if you get a rematch in a fight that people thought you lost, a lot of times you end up winning it, the rematch.
But that's the thing, when he fell off hard. Like the last time he won.
Fall off hard though.
Like he literally had like 12. BJ had like 12 bad performances back to back. Even when he fought with Nate Diaz and Rory McDonald. He fought Rory, right?
I'm finna look at the record right now.
But listen, you got to also understand during that time, I think BJ had probably been fighting for 10, 11, 12 years. So, like, MMA got to be like NBA too. Like, you cannot be out here doing it. Like, because I think, like, once he hit, like, a 12-year whatever, he just started, like, losing. But you got to also understand, dog, I think I remember him, he got Matt Hughes as Sean Shirk as. Yep. I think he had a split the first one. I think he had a split with GSP the first one. I think he lost the second one. You know, he got the Kenny Florian win, I think he got. So, like, he got a lot of dudes like Joe Stevenson. Like, he got a lot of dudes that he was cleaning up. But you also, these fights was like, when I really started watching, was 2005, 2006, 7, and 8. When he started fighting late, like, he had like a huge 4-year gap in between one of them, or 3 or 4 year gap. Like, he really just kept doing it too long. And then he was fighting young dogs,
bro,
with like speed. Like,
bro.
Frankie is all cardio. him fighting Yair, why would they even do that?
You reading my mind. Yeah, you reading my mind, bro. I'll tell you.
It was that, but like if he would have fought, like, because he lost to Frankie twice, and then I think he slept Matt Hughes like right after that. So like not even 2-3 months down the line, I think that was that January, December. I think he slept Matt Hughes like right after losing to Frankie twice, and Frankie was running around 5-round Frankie. That's how he do it. So he wasn't the youngest dude, and BJ ain't never been a size guy. He always been a heart guy like Max. So his fall off was hard, but yeah, see what I'm saying? Like,
I think what happened with BJ Penn, I think when he lost the first fight against Frankie, he stopped caring. And a lot of times we see great fighters and they have that one BS loss, and it's like, you know what, I'm fighting for money now. But it was odd when was it the second or the third Frankie fight? We came on his tippy toes. Was it third?
Oh my God,
like, Kobe,
do you remember that?
No.
Remember the second time he fought him? BJ was doing this weird tippy toe thing. No, you got to remember this. Because remember, Joe Rogan was like, that's so odd. Remember?
Yeah.
Bro, I hate to look, no disrespect. BJ Penn team is one of the worst. Kobe, they got to be one of the worst teams for coming up with a game plan that I have ever seen.
They said he did that because they thought he could generate more power. You think Frankie going to let BJ land power punches on him?
Oh,
Frankie?
That was so terrible, bro. Like, what the? Now, I'm going to tell you this. Now, I was thinking this when Kobe was saying it. Man, after remember BJ Penn had a majority draw with John Fitch? Now, this is when it gets crazy. Now, in 2011, he fought Nick Diaz. This is Nick Diaz who had just came from Strikeforce, who was killing him. Then he fought Roy McDonald. This is automatic. This is already too much. Then he fought Frankie again and got TKO. Boy, Frankie 3-0'd him.
But look at that. But look, before you go there, look at them fights. He went 3 rounds straight with Roy Mack, and he went to unanimous decision with Nick. He ain't get put out,
bro.
He went to decision with both of those. Like, and that's Nick Diaz, Nate the same way. They punches and bunches kind of guys. So, that but he's always you know what I'm saying? That was a dog fight. You know what I'm saying?
He got beat.
And that Kobe fight, I'm sorry, Kobe, that BJ Penn and Nick fight, they went to war. Remember they were just throwing hands?
Man, I gotta go back and watch that.
I think BJ won that first round. And then the second round, Nick kind of turned up on them. They were throwing hands.
Oh, when it's cardio, it's over. Bro, think about it. You got one of the worst cardio fight, one of the best one-round fighters ever versus one of the best cardio, I'll beat you down the line. No matter what you do to me in the beginning, I'll get past it fighters. Terrible matchup. Now, I'm going to tell you this, though. That Roy McDonald fight was just brutal. It was a beat down. I have never seen nothing like that. Boy, I know when Roy threw that Superman punch, he must have, BJ had a flashback and said, he really is GSP's apprentice. He fight just like him. It was bad.
The thing is that Rory has a history of fighting against small welterweights. He did the same thing with Nate Diaz.
He didn't do it against Robbie. But
he kind of did the first fight.
He kind of did. He kind of did, though. That's the
first fight. Who won the first fight?
Man, Robbie put him down, bro. Do you remember Robbie took his broke his nose? Yeah.
No, the first fight. I think Rory won the split, right?
My goodness.
I think Robbie dropped him in the first fight, right? Kobe.
Let me go.
I'm trying to think back. I know it was a
split. Lost to Robbie twice. Yeah. But remember, one of them was kind of it wasn't a robbery. But it was one of them ones where everybody kind of felt like it was close, but it should have went to Rory. So, yeah.
No, but Robbie hurt Rory, remember? Then he knocked him down.
No, remember Rory almost got Robbie out of there. Remember he almost took the title from him?
No, I mean in the first fight.
First one, yeah. I think he put him down one time.
Yeah, in the first round.
Yeah, I think because one of them rounds, it swayed once that knockdown happened.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably what caused that split decision, but I don't know, man. Rory's just big. Like you can go back to that. To his. When we just watched. Who we just looking at?
BJ Penn.
BJ Penn. BJ just fought. Like if you take a chunk out of what BJ was fighting, all of them dudes. Like say from that Nick Diaz fight. I know the Frankie Edgar fights had to happen because he was champ. But from the Nick Diaz fight and just take from all the way to him to Clay Guida, all the young dudes. Take every dude out there that was young. Just say no Rory, no Frankie, no Yair, Is you got to also understand this is Rory of 2012, not now is young him, where we all thought he was about to be GSP and a half. Like when you take all the young dudes out, he shouldn't have been fighting any of them any fucking way. He's already been in there for 10 years, 11 years, like, and he was old then. You know what I'm saying? So it would have been a different trajectory for him had he not had this little streak here, like, honestly.
Yeah.
But I think the only fair fight for him was that Dennis Seaver fight was fair, and that Clay Guida fight was fair. The Nick Diaz fight was fair. Like, all that other stuff, he didn't need to be fighting any of them other ones. Like, they really need, like, you've been in there long enough, like, I think, like an older or a more seasoned matchmaking. Stop putting these old dudes in there with these young killers who got nothing to lose.
Hey, Kobe, the only thing is to counter what you're saying. What about the Stipes? What about these guys who are 40, 39 years old and they're whooping these young guys' butts?
Yeah. But BJ has historically been very lazy.
Yeah.
Like Stipe is a fireman, like just a regular fireman.
Yeah.
This is not a lazy person.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is a person who BJ is eating double decker, double baconator spam sandwiches just on a regular basis. And I love BJ. BJ is the one who got me into fighting because I started watching during that season of The Ultimate Fighter. And I just was like, why they like respecting this dude so much? And then on the last episode, they was like talking about the finale, how he was going to fight Jens Pulver. And when I seen the highlight, I said, oh, this dude's a fighter and he's good. So I love BJ, man. Like, but BJ has notoriously been kind of lazy in camp. Like, we all heard the rumors. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I mean, listen, he done fought at heavyweight. You know what I'm saying? He done did his thing too at heavyweight for that size and all that other stuff. He a dog though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, that was shit. What he fought? I think he lost to Lyoto at heavyweight.
Man.
And you know what I'm saying? But he done fought like some killers. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? Why did his team do this?
Because listen, go back down there. Look at. Let's just start from the bottom. Just from the people that most people may know. He done fought Den Thomas, Jens Pulver. You know what I'm saying?
Kyle Uno was a big name at one point.
Yeah, back then Kyle Uno was. You know what I'm saying? He got Takanori Gomi, Matt Hughes. He fought Matt Hughes. Listen, Matt Serra, all of them. So he got names and notable wins almost over a bunch of dogs. You know what I'm saying? And back then, all the fights that he was losing outside of the Lyoto one, he avenged. And then the only one he didn't get a chance to avenge back then was, I think, like GSP, and GSP was an animal back then. So, you know, he a dog, man. I don't know.
And he really won this one, bro. Like, truthfully, like, we saw it, and, you know, so they really kind of was like 1-1. Bro, his record is crazy. You know, I got a thing about fighters taking better matchups because, like you said, once we hit this Nick Diaz fight, I can understand how that was a good fight. And so they said, hey, maybe give him Rory, because if he can beat Rory, you see what I'm saying? But after the way that fight went down, the Frankie Edgar fight just didn't make sense, man. The Yair fight really didn't make no sense. That was just crazy. The Dennis Seaver one was cool because he actually won the first round. Like, he actually did good, and then he just got tired, you know.
Yeah, bro. He done got folded a few times before that fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, that Rory, look at that Rory McDonald one between the Dennis Seaver one is almost like a 3-year gap. Like, so he, you know, UFC, I think, like, punishing like they older fighters that they don't retire how they want them to retire. They be like, oh, if you don't want to go, all right, cool.
Right.
Had this little young striking punk who,
I don't know if I agree with that,
fight every day.
If you think about it, he fought Dennis Seaver, Ryan Hall, and Clay Deep. He should have won all 3 of those fights.
Right.
I mean, but that's after you don't went through wars. Yes. You know what I'm saying? You're not the same dude after wars.
Man, it's crazy, man. What the hell are they talking about? But man, you know, it's just so wild, man, because the Clay Guida fight, but I ain't gonna lie though, man. Clay did start winning fights out of nowhere again. Because we thought Clay was out of there, remember? And then Clay started winning a whole bunch of fights out of nowhere, and it was like, okay, so the Clay fight was different. Now Ryan only got 1 loss still to this day, in the UFC. Dennis, yeah, he probably should have won that one. But man, Yair did a Mortal Kombat finish on him, man. It was like somebody had the controller.
He threw like 10 head kicks in like 3 seconds.
It was bad. It was.
BJ had no way of winning that fight, man, against Yair. He had no way of winning.
You still there, Kobe?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm gonna say, let me see. John and bro, the people he lost to was none of these are bad people. This is bro, you fought John Fitch, Nick Diaz, Rory. Bro, all of them was fighting for the title at some point. Frankie was a champion. Yair might be fighting for a title. Dennis, yeah, he should have won that one. But man, that
I think BJ Penn, of all the Hall of Famers in UFC history, I think BJ Penn is the most inconsistent guy, if that makes sense, man. Because he's like the cream of the crop. Like he's one of the all-time greats. But compared to other Hall of Famers, he was really like inconsistent.
You talking about BJ Penn?
Yeah, BJ Penn. Because he's one of the all-time greats. But compared to like,
if he retired when he was supposed to, like say for instance, he retired when he was supposed to. Anytime you taking that's why I really don't want John to fight. Anytime you take 3-4 years off of fighting, it's not the same. You come back nervous. You got to kind of almost have reckless abandon when you fighting. And taking that time off, you were older man, you were smarter man, you were more thinking man. Yeah, you want that type of fight like when you're young. You want that type of knowledge when you're young so you can be reckless with the knowledge. But it comes like, both ways. The older you get, the more mature you get, the more cautious you get. So I don't know. I like BJ. I just feel like he didn't know when to hang it up. And I feel like if young kids come up after and look at him, they're going to look at his record first and they go, this dude was trash because they don't know everybody else on that list.
That's facts.
You know what I'm saying? But he wasn't. I'm going to tell you right now, he's the epitome of that boy got that dog in him. So,
yeah. And you know what's so crazy about social media? Like, okay, so remember how MMA was kind of like underground, at a bar, at a strip club, backyard type. And then all of a sudden you start, Chuck Liddell and Chito started getting into movies. It started becoming a little bit more mainstream. Then they started making a little bit of money and the UFC made it a little bit more pretty. But then it's crazy because when social media came out, when people really start getting on social media, that's when Anderson started losing. BJ Penn had started losing. GSP was smart. He got out. He was like, nah, bro. I see what's going on. Bro, I remember Kane lost. He hadn't lost in forever. All of a sudden, Kane was losing. It was like, bro, as soon as, the new generation came up and it was time for them to get into it, all the legends who was like unbeatable or just like those top tier guys, all of a sudden they start losing. So now the younger guys look at their record and say, oh, this guy's trash. And it is so difficult to explain, like, hey, there was a point in time where this dude couldn't even get fights, that he had to go up and weight and stuff. That's another thing. BJ Penn lost a lot of fights. He had to go up and weight because it wasn't easy for him to get fights either. You know what I'm saying? So you look at them fights and look at how he was losing at welterweight. I couldn't get no fights at lightweight. And then there wasn't a featherweight at one point. Remember? The featherweight was a newer division. So he was kind of stuck between, bro, once you beat Sean Shirk and Diego and Joe Stevenson and Kenny Florian, who else is there to fight at lightweight, bro? Like, seriously.
Yeah, and them dudes is dogs. And all them dudes you name could be in the league right now doing their thing. He didn't, none of them was nothing to sleep on right now. Matt Hughes can bang right now. If you take old Matt Hughes, prime Matt Hughes, and throw him in right now, he'd still be champion because them wrestlers are something different.
Man, I don't know, man. They got some hybrids now, but they got these I think Tyron was like a hybrid. Like he was like the first